this mac and cheese for tomorrow. And the raw product looks like a nice processed, absolute preservative-filled product. I've always wanted to make one of these that looked like ridiculously like fake. This baby, although it's the first time I've used eggs. I threw 2 eggs in there. Yeah. So
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. And I have the mashed potatoes are done, which are good. And the other part of that is our kids don't really like mashed potatoes that much. Anson likes them a little bit. But
they're not like potato people. I don't know
why. It's weird
why.
because I can't sell them on the volcano of mashed potatoes with gravy as the lava, which is always a go-to.
It's like how they're not big like mayo eaters either.
The losers.
Do you know what I just feel that some foods just go out of vogue a little bit. Do you not think so?
Well, we're entering an aspic era in this house.
You're gonna get a mold.
Yes, I am going to get a mold. I'll be suspending everything that there is to suspend in aspic, like trout. And I am an aspic guy, the Derek Joe. All right, so where do we want to start tonight? I forgot what we've hit and what happened.
Okay, so let's start with yesterday, because I feel like I don't think we did the Kamala video yesterday.
Did we really not?
I don't think I think she came out with it last night.
That's amazing.
But life happens fast in politics and on Twitter. And, you know, today's been the day of bomb threats against Trump nominees.
It's amazing. I saw this bomb threats against nominees all over the place now. It's like people are saying this is a domestic terrorist incident. Did Trump tweeted out or truthed out that Mexico was stopping illegals at their southern border? I don't know. Is that verified?
It's apparently like Biden negotiated something is what I'm seeing. But like, I don't know. Biden's Mr. Policy all of a sudden.
But and Trump is Mr. Take credit for it because he tweeted out like.
Well, yeah, but do you think Biden would be doing it if Trump didn't win the election?
Well, he's attacking Russia. I mean, it doesn't seem to me like he'd want to set Trump up.
And, who's even doing this? Because Biden's not really president right now, as far as I can tell. So who's coming up with all these bright ideas and doing things in the office? I know it's not Biden, and I know it's not Kamala. So
right.
Do you have the video of her or no?
I mean, there's, the whole thing is 8 minutes long, but let me see.
We don't have to play her whole thing.
No. Here's, let me do this one.
We are all in this together. And on this practical eve of Thanksgiving, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving with the ability and to find the ability at this moment to just remember there is so much to be thankful for. And so I wish for you that you are surrounded by the people you love and who love you. As you know, I encourage you to be around family in whatever way you compose that family. But to take a moment and just reflect on all the good you have done.
What's funny about this?
And all the good you have yet to do.
Is that SNL back in 2019 nailed her perfectly from the get-go. That she's like the fun wine aunt.
Yeah, but they had her as Marianne Williamson, where she's I guess fun wine, but they would never do a takeoff on this.
Well, no, but that original 2019 thing that they did was actually like a takeoff on this.
But this is absolutely a drunken toast from somebody like, oh God,
everyone
no.
likes that person's art. I mean, that's a fun person.
A lot of times it's a fun person. Yes, I actually tweeted this TikTok this today, and because I thought it was a good one, it's got 200,
I just don't want her negotiating
295 views.
Putin.
So, yeah. But, I was thinking about this. I don't care that she's wasted. I just wish that she'd at least show us the wine glass with the wine and just hold it and have it swishing around. Or better yet, if she held the bottle.
Well, right. And they did remember the first photo of her post losing the election, and she was hanging with her nieces or whatever, and she's like playing with the kids on the floor, and she has the glass of wine next to her. I mean, obviously. But that's what they had with her in SNL in 2019. They had her saying, "I'm the fun aunt, I'm the fun," and with like a drink at the debate. That was what they did as the takeoff on her. And it's funny that back then was so accurate because it's totally a correct depiction of her. It would have been a hilarious presidency. I just think it would have been bad for like our national security and stuff to have her negotiating with Putin and trying to do like real stuff. But
I mean, that's the thing is that and I thought this was when I had convinced myself that she was going to win, like a couple of days before the election. I thought I wasn't upset really because I thought, the country is as stupid as I thought it was. It's about abortion, women vote. And so here we go. And I thought, at least if she's president, we have no idea what she'll do.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. Who knows what she'll do? Who knows how she'll explain her ideology? Who knows how, like any of this stuff? And you're hearing that she's telling Democrats to like stay with her, that she's polling well and this and that. I do not believe that she wants to be president of the United States. I don't think she wants to do all that campaigning.
No, she wants to get on the speaking circuit and make $250,000 a speech or whatever it is that Hillary Clinton got to make, and live the good life without having to make real decisions and stuff. She doesn't want to be president. Who are we kidding?
No.
But I will also say, so we talked a little bit about yesterday and heard a little bit of the clips from the Jen O'Malley, Dylan, David Plouffe, like the Kamala campaign bigwigs on Pod Save America, which was, it's incredible. I listened to the whole thing today and it's worse than the individual clips make it seem. The whole thing is bigger than the sum of its parts because like the individual clips are just them talking about like one-off specific things. But the interview taken as a whole is really damning. Nothing was their fault. They have excuses upon excuses upon excuses. They brought up COVID as an excuse. COVID messed up the way campaigns are run, and so they didn't have anybody who knew how campaigns are run. The COVID happened, the hurricanes happened, as though the hurricanes didn't happen to Trump also. Mm-hmm. Trump also existed in the reality where there were hurricanes.
He existed in the reality where he was being indicted, prosecuted by the feds, declared a rapist by some psycho judge, was having his businesses removed, had a mugshot out there, and was shot at.
Right. Nothing was their fault. There wasn't enough time. It was too short. It was too hard. The media was mean. The media, by the way, which is famously biased towards Trump and didn't call Trump out on anything or didn't give Trump any problems over any of his stuff and was mean to poor Kamala.
Right, of course.
Asked her stupid questions. She had a hurricane to deal with. She had COVID to deal with, apparently. She had every problem in the book. There was no way. They had to introduce her to people. Nobody had heard of her, apparently, which is also not true because back when people knew less about her, they liked her more. The list goes on. It's too hard to reach young men. Young men can't be reached. They're difficult. They don't watch TV, so they didn't see her ads. That was the problem. The list goes on and on. It's excuse after excuse after excuse. And there was a lot of debate amongst people, including mostly people on the left, like, why don't the Pod Save Bros call them out on any of this stuff during this interview? And some people were saying, like, it's actually more damning to them that they just let them talk and go on and on about this and didn't challenge any of it. But it's embarrassing and it reveals such an insane lack of introspection about anything that happened. And that's why, I mean, like, you should go listen to the whole thing for yourselves. But, I mean, like, they defend the Call Her Daddy decision. They defend the not going on Rogan decision. They defend, and they're right, that none of these things individually is enough to swing the race. But, and they had a problem because they had a candidate who couldn't do those things. She couldn't have done Rogan, right? Like, Rogan, going on Rogan wouldn't have won her the race because if she went on Rogan, it would have made her tank in the polls. because she'd
I
be
mean,
worse.
I think so. I mean, but if they had a 3-hour window and she kept saying nothing, eventually I think she'd probably either have some kind of nervous breakdown or suddenly just explode open with the truth. You know?
Julian Phil saying the Chatter campaign team had a disadvantage. Election day was on Tuesday this year. Cut them some slack. Exactly. But that's what it was like.
Well, and
It
we've
was
heard
insane.
all of these reports of them all taking victory laps, like we played yesterday
They
too.
did a really
the
good job.
25-year-old, like we're really pleased with how, and they do think they did a good job because they did all the things, and they looked like. Did we play? We played James.
They're like, well, we actually lost the suburbs by less than the rest of the country. We knew we had to do well in suburbs, so we worked really hard in the suburbs, and we lost everywhere else by 5 in the suburbs by 1.
And we only had 180 days, and we got all that done. It's like,
wait,
well,
what?
it's amazing, but it goes back to there was this thing that they had. Her and Walls got on to talk to 1,000 people, and then nobody took any blame for anything. Everybody did a victory lap. And it's obvious, we mentioned that this morning, if anybody was in our kitchen while we were talking, obviously the consultants just shook them down. There's so much crime. To be able to spend more than $1.5 billion in 3 months is pretty freaking unbelievable. And people will go to jail for this at some point. But this idea sorry, thanks for the $800,000. But we didn't have enough time to put you over the top. Sorry. I'm going to go on Pod Save America and pat myself in the back now.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's incredible because have you ever heard of median voter theorem?
Jesus Christ. No, Ellis.
So median voter theorem, and
this would be the thing that you say after our first, during our first date, where I'd say, this isn't going to work, is it?
Median voter theorem is the idea.
Is it median or medium?
Median, M-E-D-A-I, or I-A-N, sorry. I-A-N. Median voter theorem. And median voter theorem is the idea that the voter is just trying to figure out which candidate is closest to them. Like, so if this candidate is like way far extreme to the right and this candidate's way far extreme to the left, and then the voter is in the middle and they're just trying to figure out like which one is closest to them, and they'll vote for that one. You know what I mean? So they're voting for the person who's like closest to their position.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right? And like, I think ultimately that's the thing that they're not willing to acknowledge. That's a huge factor here, which is that like Trump's not very far right.
No.
He's really not. People don't believe he's an extremist on abortion. He has essentially liberal trade and economic policies. He's not like, he's just not that big a right-wing conservative ideologue. And Kamala is a left-wing ideologue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you look at the voters in the middle, they just, like, Kamala was further from them. And I think that the left has this problem where they're like, oh, it's messaging. Oh, it's super PACs. Oh, it's this, it's that. The super PACs did X, Y, Z. We didn't knock enough doors. We didn't do this. That's another thing they complained about with super PACs. Oh, their super PACs were coordinating. Like, you guys had a bleep load of money.
Mm-hmm.
You had so much money. You had so many resources. That is not the problem. Look at Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg hired gazillions of people. He spent gazillions of dollars, and he got like 15% of the vote because at the end of the day, voters pick somebody. And they don't care how many ads you buy in their market. Like, it can move the needle, but only so much. All these smart campaign people think that they can somehow like money and smart campaigning and door knock their way into convincing voters that they like something they don't like.
Right.
Right? Like you can't do that. It's not a question of message. It's not a question of time to get to know the person. It's not a question of like the super PAC money and the ads and all this stuff. Like, you ran a candidate who has campaigned and in her own words said she supports policies that are deeply out of step with people.
Well, yes.
She has worked with a president that she refuses to disavow, who has pursued policies that are deeply out of step with people.
Yes.
And she's not walking away from any of that. They hemmed and hawed about the she's for they, them, he's for you ads. Oh, we had dozens of us working on that for days and days. We spent so many hours trying to figure out how to respond. There was just no way to respond. The idea that it's a response communications issue. You can't communications your way out of bad policies. The problem is she's for that. She was for it. She's still for it. You have no answer for it because she likes it and voters don't like it. Like, they can't comprehend. So this is why I say, like, median voter theorem, they're just really far away from the voters and they refuse to answer to their... No, I mean, like, it is more complicated than that. But at the end of the day, like, I think that this is a big piece, is that people just don't like what they're selling.
Well, absolutely, that's true. And also part of the problem there is that if she wanted to turn on a dime, then she'd have to create daylight between her and Biden. And unfortunately for her, part of the coalition running her campaign were the Biden campaign people. So they're not going to go and backstab their guy. They're still getting his checks. Another thing is...
Right, the campaign was based in Wilmington.
Right. And then another thing is that the strongest super PAC for middle America is the price of steak, which used to be good steak, ribeye steak, which then had to be chuck steak, which now has to be pork, which now has to be...
Right.
And gas prices as well. So meanwhile, you're telling people how good the economy is. Everybody's had to downgrade. And now I'm seeing you with freaking Beyonce and Hollywood lecturing to me. It's like, double fuck you.
Well, right. And I mean, and progressives have talked about this, is the failure in cities, the homelessness, the crime, the drug use, the progressives refuse to acknowledge. Like, her home state is California, right? So this policy stuff matters. Also, she has zero personality or anything to offer beyond the progressive policy agenda. So there's nothing there for you if you're a voter. And I think that their refusal to acknowledge any of these issues is, I mean, like, I like it, obviously, as a conservative, that they're doubling down and have learned the totally wrong things. But I think this is fascinating because here, we're going to see if I can play this out of Bluetooth. Because at the end of the podcast, they ask Jenna O'Malley Dillon for some parting thoughts here. And let's see what she says here.
Before we go, I just want to ask, is there anything else, any final lessons or thoughts any of you want to offer about what happened and what comes next?
Can I do one?
Of course.
Okay. So we lost, and that really sucks. And we came really close, and obviously we believe that we could pull this off. And that is something we all have to live with, and we'll have to live with for the next 4 years. But that does not mean that the people that did the work on the campaign as volunteers in these states, that work didn't matter. It was so important. And I
We still think
if I spend the rest of my life just doing this, like, I hope people here, especially people that listen to your podcast and your audience, that there is so much power in being involved in a campaign like this and doing a job that you can believe in every day and going to talk to regular people and make your
In other
case
words, don't
for
stop
why you care about something,
volunteering
and why you
for
hope they care
campaigns
about
and
it
giving
too.
us money, even
That
though it looks
even
like
though
we
we didn't get it
squandered
over the
all.
finish line, we got it closer because of those volunteers and because of those young staff that moved to Wilmington, that moved to all these places in the country that they didn't have to. And during COVID, it was really hard. I think our
during
industry, campaign industry,
COVID made
we sort of
campaigning really
lost
hard.
some of the pipeline of people that did
In
this cycle after
2024.
cycle. I am only here today because
COVID
I
didn't
started
happen
a
to
long
Trump.
time
No.
ago doing campaigns, and I have stayed with them for a long time. But I just hope people don't look at what happened and think, well, what I did didn't matter, or the campaign didn't matter, or the vice president wasn't exceptional, because she was, and because what they did matter.
No, don't take
and
that
does
away.
not also
Jesus.
mean that you have to keep fighting every day. We are in a long haul right now, and we're going to have to take care of ourselves and fight in the way we can fight when the fighting needs to be done. But I just, like, the people that stood with us on this campaign are the ones that are going to get us through this next hurdle. And they're the ones that we're all going to follow behind because they are that
Can you
good
pause it
and
a
that
little?
exceptional and have learned so much and are the
It's amazing because the right track, wrong track numbers have been known for months.
Right.
And none of these consultants, nobody making a bleep ton of money like this lady here, nobody like David Plouffe, who I'm sure made more than $1 million with this stuff. None of these people could tell her that, Kamala, everybody, 70% of Americans think we're on the wrong track, or more, depending.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them that you're going to change tracks if they ask. Tell them you're a different track than Biden, and they couldn't
Who
come
has
up.
an underwater approval rating?
Yeah, they couldn't come up, and so what she promised is you're going to get the same track, same wrong track. No, like,
You
nobody,
don't like how
that's
the
why these
country's
people-
going. Would you like some more of that?
Right. That's how. Like, yeah, we're doing another fire festival. As a matter of fact, less organized and even more obscure rapper.
And more expensive.
Exactly. Exactly. You're gonna more not get lunch this time, and almost die there. Yes. That's what we promise you. They expected people.
But don't let your takeaway be that Kamala Harris isn't awesome at this. Exceptional.
Well,
in
but
fact.
it's also like
She's an exceptional political
but Alice,
talent.
there's very little chance that there were that many people around her who were incompetent. Between her family and the Biden campaign and the Kamala campaign and the radicals, the fact is that they considered her their fiefdom. That's it. They said it is fiefdom, right?
Like their kingdom, kind of.
Shit. No, I thought that's somewhere you
No,
steal
you
from.
can say it.
You don't steal from your fiefdom?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
What do you mean?
They considered Kamala an
Something?
open trunk of cash.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go. I will try not to use words that I'm not sure of anymore. It's not a fiefdom? Crap. How many times do I say that? Oh,
I mean, I don't
that's
hear
one of
it
my
used that way, really,
that's
but
one of
maybe
my
I'm wrong.
intellectually dunking on the audience the sayings. But that's why there's no way that there are that many people stupid around her that didn't give her these answers.
Yeah, an area over which you exercise control as a feudal lord.
Okay, that works then.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was saying, like a kingdom, like your area that
Okay,
you're in charge
you were
of.
right. I was wrong. But I mean, that's got to be it. I mean, there's no way these people just shook her down. They just shook her down, and the ones who were true believers were the Instagram team, the 23-year-olds. They believed in her.
Well, right, and that's like who this is pitched towards. Is like, don't think that your work on the Instagram didn't matter, little 23-year-olds. Definitely come back and do our next campaign, working for free in Wilmington, Delaware. Well, I mean, of course, there's a million more of them than there were people on Team Trump doing social media, right? And that's another thing that they complain about on here is the right-wing media in general. And
Yes.
But also the right-wing media ecosystem of like podcasts and new media and YouTube that liberals just can't crack into. It can't be done. It's impossible. It's so unfair. They did a whole big thing about how all the like liberal celebrities and stuff like didn't want to get politics on their brand. And so like they couldn't do the popular liberal podcast. They were supporting us behind the scenes, but they couldn't like publicly get their brands involved in politics.
Well,
Mostly they didn't want to be associated with you guys because they could sense that you were an utter failure.
I think that's true largely, but I also think if you listen to the Pod Save America bros talking to these people, they don't want discord. They're not about... They're happy warriors in a spiritual battle for progressive
But there's
freedoms.
plenty of liberal podcasts and conservative podcasts. The Pod Save ones are popular with the left, obviously.
No,
the
I know
Daily,
that,
like
but
all these
like
things.
one of the reasons, but they don't. It's the same reason progressives aren't good at talk radio. They're just not good because they don't treat it like an arena the way you would if you
Right.
wanted to have open debate, etc. They're not good at it. They don't, flesh through thoughts, etc. In the same way. I mean, there's a lot of bad talk radio on the other side.
But anyway, I want you to hear the end of this because then they get into an ad for like becoming a sponsor of Pod Save America at the end here, which also says the same thing, which is, I just want you to hear it. Hang on.
Are the future. And I just want to make sure that every single person, even if you did one text or one phone call, you know that what you did really mattered and made a difference here, even when the ultimate result wasn't what we had hoped for.
That seems like a great place to end it. And that's also true for the four of you who did incredible work under impossible circumstances, None of you had to do this, and you did it because it was important. And so I'm very grateful to you. It was what you did was very
Who's this
impressive.
talking? Do we know?
So
One of
thank
the
you to
Pod
Jen,
Bros, I don't
Quentin,
know.
Stephanie,
I don't
and
know
David.
them well
This
enough
was
to know their voices.
Fascinating and illuminating.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, Dan Pfeiffer.
Now we get to the part where they ask you to
That's our
support
show
them
for
with
today.
money.
One final note, I'm going to be doing a Q&A about this interview for our Friends of the Pod subscribers. That will publish later on Tuesday. Sign up at crooked.com/friends to participate in that Q&A and get ad-free versions of our shows and more. But more importantly, I hope you'll sign up because as we just heard in this conversation, one of the dominant forces in this election was a powerful right-wing media machine that helped tip the election to Trump. It's absolutely essential that Democrats push back against that, and Crooked is going to play a huge part in that. Your support as a subscriber allows us to invest in new shows, new content, and new initiatives and continue to be an important, independent, progressive voice in this crazy media ecosystem. So again, the link is crooked.com/friends,
Do they
or you
sound
can sign up directly through Apple
independent?
Podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with a new show.
Do they
on
sound
Wednesday.
independent from the Democratic Party?
No, of course they're not. This is-
Independent. Jesus.
So, yeah, independent progressive thought, and they're going to fight back against the organized conservative media machine that is indoctrinating everybody with their incredible prowess. It's so funny because it's just, like, not true at all. Like, Rogan was a Bernie bro, and he's not really political at all. He doesn't even care that much about politics. They dragged him into politics more than anything else by like CNN attacking him during COVID and all these things. Like they made him be more political than I think his natural intention is to be.
Well, yeah, and Rogan didn't become Republican; he became Trump, and that's the problem with the Democrats is the Trump coalition. Yes, they've lost, Jonah Goldberg and Bill Kristol, but they gained a whole bunch of groups. They've gained who are enfranchised. Like this labor chick is one of theirs,
Right.
And so Democrats aren't. It's like they think that we need to fight Republican news outlets and the Republican establishment. It's like there's no more Republican establishment. You have nobody to fight because Bill Kristol's now on your panels.
Right.
You're
the Cheneys are yours now.
Exactly. And
BlackRock is you guys.
And
like
that kid
you
Sean
have
Joyle or whatever from the Teamsters is on Trump's side now. And so who are you? Are you anti the Teamsters now? Because it kind of sounds like you are because you keep calling them racist who are worried that the corner store is now run by somebody who's not white. So the Democratic Party has not, in the Republican Party, I mean, because Trump is president now, Democrats have to decide where their new values are. Remember Colin said her values hadn't changed? Well, they have to decide where their new values are.
Right.
Because if they're the values of the working man now, then it didn't look like it. And telling 44-year-old high blood pressure white men, telling them how useless and worthless and racist they were, I think it's got diminishing returns.
Well, right. And it's like they just all forgot everything they ever knew. I mean, It's funny because Obama empowered them to think that we were entering this bold progressive future. But Obama really ran as a moderate.
The first time, yeah.
I mean, even kind of the second time. Not like the way progressives are now. Not like Liz Warren or something.
Yeah. Can I say something about that?
Yes.
Does Obama not think, and this is not a secret that's held by all this conservative media they're talking about, it's only held by them, secretly. Does the left not think that normal, auto workers, union guys, people working hard, etc., do they think that they don't have access to the fact that he's got a bloated mega mansion on Martha's Vineyard? Mr. Climate Change. I know it's not a new argument, but real people can see this and say, that's interesting. Because this guy was just hanging with me, changing his accent for me, telling me that we're in a climate nightmare all his buddies, all that he funneled my tax money to, all got rich. They're trying to force us to make EVs, which means we're all getting laid off.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a mansion. I get stiffed. Eventually, people are going to notice stuff. And the mansion stuff, I do think, by the way, that the next scandal that's going to happen soon, and it's going to hurt both parties in D.C., is at some point, you know, it was fine to rape all the chicks in Hollywood and do the casting couch stuff until it wasn't. I do think that that there's going to be a reckoning for Congress on how rich they get, what uncanny ability they have to predict the stock futures.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing, but ultimately, too, like, I think that, ironically, for the left, because they tried to make the weird thing happen, I think a lot of it comes down to, like, the median voter theorem idea and the idea of weirdness or out of the mainstreamness, right? Obama was, I mean, he definitely ran as a moderate. His big 2004 speech was like, no red states and blue states, everybody's purple states, whatever thing. Like, we're all gonna, and he ran on this idea of like a post-racial presidency in an environment that was very post-racial at the time. In 2008, we were in the era of like, we don't see colors, we're past the race thing. And he pivoted in his second term on that with the Trayvon Martin stuff and everything. But like, all this woke DEI type of stuff came afterwards, you know? And I think they underestimate how unpalatable this is to regular people. I think that, you know, that this is why the like transgender prison inmate illegal alien stuff resonates. And I read articles that said people didn't initially believe that attack when Trump said it in the debate because it sounded made up. It sounded like a mishmash of like crazy things conservatives say about liberals, but they have her on video talking about wanting it. So
yes,
so there's no way around it. Like they literally actually believe that. And I think, I mean, we forget because political memory is short, but Democrats now act like the swing states that there are now are the only swing states that exist. But like Obama won Ohio, you know,
Florida,
you know, and Florida. And this was not like a lot of people were willing to vote for Obama and didn't see him as a crazy or a radical or any of this stuff. And they see the Democratic Party now as, whether it's Kamala's fault or not, being in the throes of these crazy progressive forces that are not like them and that believe crazy things. The Biden White House with the like topless trans people and people stealing luggage and Admiral Rachel Levine madness and like these woke policies. You see all these companies backing off the woke policies now. Did you see, by the way, that Ferrari doubled down?
Oh,
they
no.
said they're recommitting to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Ferrari or Jaguar?
Ferrari.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing.
Jaguar did the crazy ad too. Yeah, so there's some companies that have decided to, you know, cast their lot with the DEI programs. But that stuff, the writing is on the wall for those programs. They do not work, and people don't like them.
Can I just say something here, Alice?
Yeah.
There's one reason a straight man gets a Ferrari.
To pick up chicks?
That's right. So, you might want to put a guy making the decisions around that. How pathetic.
Yeah. So, I mean, Harry Enton was on CNN talking about this, that the support for DEI has gone down from 68% to 53% since 2021.
Oh, Jesus. For a second, I thought when you were saying this, I was thinking of Harry Sisson.
Oh,
And I'm like, she's really putting that
No,
much stock
Harry
in what Harry
Ensign.
Sisson says about this.
the
I
CNN
like Harry
numbers
Ensign.
guy.
He's awesome.
No,
actually.
I know. So there's polling. Like people are moving away from this. Was like a fad thing.
Yes.
Driven by the popularity of some books like White Fragility that all the wine moms read for a summer,
and the Trump and George Floyd and a bunch of things.
Right. But it's like the dam has kind of broken now that all these people have decided that they can back away from this stuff. The companies have decided they can back away from it safely, etc. I thought this was a really funny tweet. You know, Chris Saliza, he said, the election ended 3 weeks ago. Enough time has passed. We, or I, can now safely pronounce that the Tim Walz VP pick was a dud.
What?
Let me explain. It is funny coming from someone who in August tweeted, what Walz has, and it's rare in politics these days, is that he's totally comfortable in his own skin. He knows who he is. He's authentic, and he doesn't try to be somebody else. Authenticity is the coin of the realm. He oozes it.
Oh, that is rough.
Mind your own damn business.
By the way, I saw
that was
him.
Chris Saliza back in August. Is that Tim Walz is just oozing authenticity and is a brilliant pick because he's so incredibly authentic. Now he says on November 26th that it's now safe for him to pronounce that Tim Walz was a sucky pick. It's safe now. The election's over. I can now say how I really feel. Before I get into it, let me say two things. Tim Walz did not lose Harris the race, and Josh Shapiro would not have made Harris win. Okay. I mean, probably true. That said, I just don't think the Walz pick made a ton of sense for Harris. Brave of you to say this now, Chris. Jeez.
How do I say this? New subject. You can't play JD Vance's weird when you have a very is shallowly a word like shallow water?
Yeah.
No, when you have very shallow closeted gay man saying it's fine.
Lightly closeted.
Yeah, lightly. Yeah, it's like it's fine. I have no problem, but don't make that guy the alpha.
Right.
Go find Mike Rowe, okay? Mike Rowe can pass.
So, and he does kind of say that he thinks that Kamala picked Walz because she didn't have a ton of time to make a pick, and the weird thing was viral and trending, like right when she had to make a pick.
The
So she
TikTok
just
campaign,
did it.
the Twitter campaign, of course.
Right.
And the
He
same
says,
people, the
without
25-year-olds, all said the same thing. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll pretend that he makes tacos, but he doesn't add spice to them. He doesn't know enough because he's I'm just a dumb white guy. I don't know how to make tacos with spice. Like, okay.
And he says, so, and I think he's right about this. Without Weird, Walz is never on her radar. He never really found a second act after Weird. That's true, I think, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they could have used him. He could have compensated. Like, I
But he
believe
says-
that there was a difference. I believe Trump having Pence helped because if you thought, Pence also was very good at putting out the fire of like anxiety that you had.
Right.
They'd say Donald Trump is saying that he's going to build a wall, and
Pence is like-
it just got higher. Yeah, and he was like, "Oh no. Listen, you need." And he's like, "Oh, okay." You know.
You know, Walz brought nothing, but listen to what Chris Saliza says about him now. Now that it's safe for him to speak out, I don't know what was going to happen to him before. He says, yes, there was excitement about the ticket after the pick, but in retrospect, it looks a lot like excitement that Biden wasn't the nominee anymore.
By the way, when he says there was excitement, what does he mean?
That the Harris campaign said there was excitement?
And that he was excited.
Walz was mediocre at best in the VP debate. His tendency to exaggerate and misremember details
People
about
look-
his
this guy,
past
like,
just
he-
turned
he
into a
can't be-
national story.
After him finally revealing what he really felt now after the election, does he have a like punch card? Does he swipe in somewhere still? Is it like that possible?
I can't really tell you how I feel about Tim Walz now, but
Now,
after
guess
the
what,
election,
guys? Let you in on something. Everything I was saying for 6 months there, no longer operative.
I love this line too. His tendency to exaggerate and misremember details about his past turned into a national story.
Maybe the spirit fingers and jazz hands didn't help either. That was another thing, I think.
Toward the end of the campaign, he was just a non-entity. Add it up and you get this. Walz was a mediocre pick based on a viral moment, and there were clearly better VP picks available to Harris.
Can you imagine the news, the daily news, like, yeah, he couldn't load the shotgun today. Sorry about that. He threw
Julianville in the chat
lightly
said,
threw the Doritos to Doug Emhoff, who we just found out just smacked his ex girlfriend in the face in Paris.
Julianville in the chat said Kamala was forced to make a difficult pick. They pushed her to pick a man with a penis.
Yeah.
And yeah. Tommy, New Hampshire says Newsom disaster. Hochul. Yeah.
I also think that we're going to find out that a lot of these drag queens almost, if 10 years ago you had invited a drag queen to dress up like some harlot, like slutty, fat 50-year-old person and read in front of kids, I think many of them would have said, I'm not going
like
to a
this
library.
act isn't for children. Like,
No, we do like
I swallow
underground-
bananas.
yeah, we do clubs, underground gay clubs and stuff. We're not from library. But once again, progressive. No, yes, we did gay marriage. We have to like people hate them for being different. Let's be inclusive. Come on.
No,
I'll bring my son if you come.
This is interesting because Tommy, New Hampshire says Cuomo if he didn't massively F up. And hearing mutterings that Cuomo is running for mayor in New York. Are you hearing this?
Yeah, I am hearing that, and I think he'll win.
I think so too. I think people are willing to forgive and forget a lot for a person who acts like the adult in the room and is competent.
And also,
Which he likes feeling up girls, like, but he.
what's more an Italian American who likes broads, is very handsy, like he was. I mean, that Me Too hit was BS.
Back in the
Letitia James.
60s, this would have been par for the course. He was just a man born in the wrong era, right?
But Italians are good like
They
that.
loved him.
Get handsy
They
right in the
loved
beginning.
him, and during COVID, all the moms loved him. Oh my God.
Oh, they were Cuomo-sexuals, right?
Oh, homosexuals. Remember them fantasizing about whether or not he has nipple rings and
Yes.
everything? Of course, what he should be in trouble for, and he's not because nobody cares except Janice Dean, is forcing all the COVID patients back into the nursing homes to kill everybody there. But win some, you lose some.
Yeah,
He's probably going to be the next mayor of New York, isn't he?
I'm fine with it. But by the way, both Cuomos are just operators. They're just like
Oh, they're so non-ideological. They're
not.
That's what the Democratic Party should want because they've somehow decided that they have to die on the hill of the most insane far left sounds like a joke policies. And like they've decided to just do that now. That like they can evaluate everything except the fact that they're completely out of touch with where the median voter is.
They also both voted for Trump. Both times.
They did. So did Biden.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, well, him mostly. Absolutely.
Maybe even Obama did. I don't know.
Tough one. Else, is there a chat today that we should go to at some
Is
point?
there a chat?
I don't know.
Brought to us by Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. Oh yeah, we got some messages on the chat. It's true.
It's Trevor. Oh, yeah, we got to remember when we couldn't get the freaking food show done today. Today. Maybe we got to do one tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do one tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of food to talk about tomorrow.
And you say you want to do a burn barrel tomorrow.
I want to do a live to everybody. We're going to do a live to everybody. We're going to stream it out free, include everyone. We're going to have a fun Thanksgiving live. I'm going to chew food on the podcast live.
All right, here we go. Ready?
I'm ready.
Hey, Tom and Alice, it's Allison from Ohio.
Hey.
I just wanted to call to say that I agree with Leslie. She's correct. You need to have a party for Inauguration Day.
Yes.
Because if you don't have a party, then you may never have a party.
True.
You will lose all of your momentum
What?
Oh.
Whereas if you have a party, everyone's going to meet each other. It's going to be great. It's going to just continue on. It'll be the first of many parties.
Well, hold on. Is Allison Bishop, the Allison Bishop, saying that she would attend this?
From Ohio?
Then we would have to do it.
If she's coming from Ohio, we have to do it.
Oh, my goodness. Can we
And
go ahead?
Phil is right. You don't necessarily have to be there. It would be way better if you were there. As a matter of fact, if you were there, I would love to go.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a little far from Ohio.
Yep.
But you know what? My husband and I, we could swing into Indiana, pick up Crazy Justin,
True.
pick his ass up, and drive to Massachusetts. See how that drive goes. But
They'd have
anyway,
to go through Pennsylvania.
unrelated to the party, which you're definitely having. You guys were
What do you
talking
look out for
about
in Pennsylvania?
Telltale pencils.
Outlander, and I highly recommend it. It's a very sexy show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I will warn you, you were talking about non-consensual sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is some of that.
Oh,
Jamie gets non-consensually sexed.
really?
And Jamie's the man. So
Whoa, Jesus!
I heard this.
Wait, is Jamie her husband, her actual husband?
No, he's the hunky Scottish guy that she.
This is such a chick show.
We've seen like an episode and a half. Tom is struggling.
There are people like I had people close to me. What was that show? That was frig. It was like 20 years ago on HBO. The family ran a 2 shows. I can't remember. Check out the chat because I have a question.
Okay.
2 shows. One was this one where the family ran a funeral home and there was a lot of sex between men there. And then the prison movie. It was a prison show on HBO.
Orange is the New Black.
No, on HBO. Before that. Frig. Anyway, I have a former roommate of mine. I will not give you any more identification. Used to watch these 2 shows, and every time we'd walk into the house, there was a man sexually assaulting another man. It was freaking. Can we take a second? I'm not watching that. I'm not getting into. I got enough
This
going
is
on.
Mr. Sporters. Jeez.
Alice, I was not sexually assaulted in Sporters, and I got.
So you wanted it.
No, I didn't want it.
It was consensual, is what you're telling us at Sporters for you.
There was no. The other bars were closed. Do you understand how this works? Then you have the bar that has got the windows are blacked out and there's loud music inside and it's still making.
Tommy's just 6 feet under.
Yes. Oh my.
And Dave in Florida says that too.
Yeah.
Oz.
Yes.
Okay.
Men are being raped every 11 seconds during Oz. It's like there was no getting away from it, and my roommate at the time was truly into every part of it. my roommate actually, who at the time as well, and
What roommate is this? Do I know them?
Don't say any names.
Okay, I'm not going to say any names.
I was just a friend of mine at the time. Who would watch Oz? Who would watch that stuff? Anyway, no, I'm not watching it, Alice. I'm out. I'm out on this.
I'm probably going to this weekend see Gladiator 2 with your son.
And is that Russell Crowe in that?
No.
Oh, okay.
All new people. Denzel's in it.
Oh, really? I mean, he's old too. What's he?
It's the sequel nobody needed, but we're gonna go see it anyway. If ever a movie didn't need a sequel, it's that movie.
Yeah, he died at the end, right?
Yeah. So it's like about the kid when he grows up.
Oh, be aware of that, Tom.
Thank you.
It's not for everybody.
By the way, I heard somebody on KMS Minahan show today diss Cincinnati chili.
People do hate on it. I liked it though.
I thought it was delicious. I would whack that out every 5 minutes.
That's that particular episode, because my husband and I used to watch together, and he was mostly doing it. Just you know why he was doing it, Tom.
Of course.
You know.
Yes, I know.
But then when that episode came on, he was like, I can't anymore.
Yeah.
So now if I ever watch by myself, he says, are you watching your sodomy show? So anyway, have the party. Love the show. Have a great night. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, Alice. Yeah, Alice was big into this. My Alice was big into Game of Thrones, and so like I watched for 5 seconds, and some
And
guy
somebody,
like bashed a baby's
stabbed a
bread
baby. Yeah,
head, and Alice, of course, is all into it. But you're a sick bastard. It's different. God. No, I'm out on this. Just.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
I think it was a sound cut of Jen Psaki, or it may have been some other moonbat that was lamenting the.
That's the three named chick, Kamala's girl.
Jen O'Malley Dillon?
Yes, that was her.
Quality of questions asked of Kamala Harris as either low quality or out and out stupid questions. Excuse me. Outside of the Brett Baer interview, wasn't the campaign providing the questions to ask to almost every interviewer?
Yeah.
So what they're saying is she can't answer her campaign's own questions.
Right.
Which is pathetic. And more importantly, they were also lamenting, I think, the fact that she couldn't really talk about the issues with the quality of questions she was getting. Again, you were providing the question. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway.
Yeah, Steve is a great point. And I once again think that's because of the coalition that ran her campaign. There was the Biden people, the Harris family people, and the Moonbats. And so they could never come to a consensus. So if you have to, come up to decisions by committee, you come up with a lame product, which is what they did. There was no sharp edges.
Well, and she had no.
Right, she's not a person.
She has no driving force for why she wants to be there. She has no feelings about what she would want to do as president.
Right.
So that hamstrings you because you don't. There's nothing to ask her because she has no answers.
She's not interested. She usually you have like the seat filler during the Oscars. So when the Oscars person goes up to the stage, the seat looks full. She's the seat filler. She's not. She's a stand-in so that you can adjust all the lighting, etc. But this time, the stand-in is the candidate. Okay, I know that you just stand there for lighting and etc. But now you're the person. Like I just stand. I don't know what else I do.
I look presidential.
Good evening, Tom.
Hey, Rudy.
I hope you still love me after this.
Uh-oh.
Alice.
Crap.
Hi, Rudy.
I just figured it out. Tom and I ran in different circles, but crossed each other's paths.
Correct.
And just before I left Boston, he ended up bartending my wedding at the Parker House.
You bartended at Rudy's wedding?
Pillaged.
Well, I was a bartender at the Parker House doing functions, and that's when his wedding was. So more likely than not, indeed, I was. If your bartender...
Congratulations on your wedding, Rudy.
If there was a heavy pour, that was me.
The Beacon Hill pub.
Yep.
And Buzz's Roast Beef.
Yep.
Daisy Buchanan's.
Oh, I love
the
Daisy.
Poorhouse. All kinds of stuff.
The Poorhouse. Great place. Great place. I miss those places. I miss those times. Although, at the time, I didn't miss those times. Because at the time, I was not achieving where I wanted to achieve relationship-wise.
There's a lesson.
Brief or whatever. But I had a good time trying.
But I just figured it out. Tom is weak. We're both fighting age, Tom. We're in our 50s.
Correct.
I don't care. I'm going out gracefully.
All right.
But you're weak.
All right.
If Alice took the...
By the way, I think technically that is true. I am weak in the sense of, like, morally am I weak if somebody offered me $13 million per year to switch on a dime to be anti-Trump? Yes. That is not a problem. Would I take Chinese spy money on my podcast to spread Chinese propaganda? Freaking absolutely. There's no doubt. Please. Am I physically weak? Pretty much for...
You're stronger than me.
I don't know that that's true, but I think my lungs are pretty good. I think they're probably very...
You walk a lot.
Yeah, I think I have small cell cancer. There's no doubt about that. And I think that my legs work well. Other than that, I am not as strong. I'm a flabby person. So in those ways, yes, I am weak.
The kids to Vermont and left you alone, and there was 50 pounds of tacos left on your dining room table.
Hold on,
you'd eat them all. Tom, we're in our 50s. I don't care. I'm going out gracefully, but you're weak.
Yeah.
If Alice took the kids to Vermont and left you alone, and there was 50 pounds of tacos left on your dining room table, you'd eat them all.
God damn right I would. There's no doubt that
Is
has
that a
happened.
problem?
Yes. Is that weak or is that building the strength to whack out a table full of tacos?
Tripe, you'd eat it all.
Oh, yes.
50
yes.
pounds of hamburgers, you feed half the pepper, you'd eat half.
Correct. Rudy is right so far. Exactly right.
So this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You got strength in yourself. Food
Yes.
and a young, beautiful wife are your kryptonite. Aren't your kryptonite, I should say.
All right.
They weaken you.
Yes.
And I just had this vision. You're going to have 2 more kids.
No.
It's inevitable.
No. No.
2 more kids.
No.
They're going to be boys.
Ugh.
The first one's going to be named Tim. Middle name Canton. Second one's going to be Rudy.
Imagine that where you really, really wanted to name him. You insisted to name him Tim Canton Shattuck and Rudy Florida Shattuck. It's like, why, Alice? Why? Neither of these children look like me. No reason.
Middle name Florida.
Yep.
But you're not done.
No.
You got to get tougher, Tom. Turn down the tacos.
No.
Turn down the burgers. The tripe.
That's all the good stuff. But it's funny because Rudy's right.
I don't know. Maybe you should get snipped, but
No.
I see 2 more kids.
No more kids. No.
Wow.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Rudy's
Later.
a fortune teller. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Rudy. But he is right. Like even in the 90s, the hierarchy would be 1 to try to hook up. If that didn't happen, and that was usually a given, number 2 was to be rock and roll some food, mac and cheese or whatever, Buzzy's roast beef or whatever it was. And then number 3 would be sleep, I think. That was it. But you are absolutely right about that.
Hey, Tom and Alice.
This is important. This is Julie.
It's Julie of Julie and Phil, and he's always getting at me because I never leave messages. I just wanted to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We are
Thanks,
so
Julie.
grateful
You too.
to have you in our home.
Thank you.
Monday through Thursday, and then we always look forward to Sunday night with a little extra. You always bring a lot of knowledge to us, and we are very grateful for
The
that.
feeling it's focused on you. Thank you, Julie.
So happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
You too. I'm glad. I'm glad that that Sunday night is kind of sort of a special show. You know, it's getting the weekend started. I wonder.
That's really nice. We are grateful for all our listeners.
Of course.
It's really, I think about it. I'm like, wow, so many people like take the time to listen to us. It's really nice. We appreciate all of you.
Absolute, totally true. You know, when I started this podcast and just on SoundCloud, and like I did my first show, and I don't know, maybe like there were like 30 people listened to it. I was like, wow, 30 people
like listened to me?
to me for like 45 minutes. It's amazing. And then like, you know, more and more, and then it grew and it grew and it grew. And, you know, so thank you. We appreciate that very much. Of course, my TikTok that I did last night has like 300 listens. Who is it out there?
Did you do a Pitbull TikTok yet? Because I told you to.
I'm trying to ride the news cycle. I have very
There's
little
Pitbulls
time.
in the news cycle.
I know. And there always will be, Alice. That's the thing. I can always get to it.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, did I hear you guys say that we don't have a Joe Rogan in our party? Don't we have Tucker Carlson, who is the best in the business and probably better than Joe Rogan? What am I missing here?
Alice?
Did I say that?
No, I thought we said that the left complained they didn't have a Joe Rogan
Yeah.
in their party. Well, so we have Tucker Carlson. There's no doubt about that. And but Rogan is not Carlson. They're 2 very different people. Although I think Tucker went on Rogan. I think, didn't he? But they're two very different.
Yeah, he did. But
people.
Very different types of shows and similar overlapping interests for sure.
Yeah, but like one thing I can say is even the cuts that we played of the Pod Save Bros, the emphasis on stylistics and sounding thoughtful in NPR
Right.
And I want you to hear that I have a degree. I want you to hear that I'm thoughtful, etc.
We have producers. We definitely, you can tell we have producers.
It is something that I think is off-putting to people, really. It's so unreal because podcasting is really like real.
Right.
Rogan is real. Stuff has happened. The guest in Rogan sometimes leaves to go to the bathroom. It happens. It doesn't happen during the Daily or Pod Save Bros. Oh, by the way, Steve had a great appearance on KMS.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about it yesterday a little.
He was awesome and played it perfectly well. And Bio Dude, oh, Alice.
What?
Nothing. It's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alice.
Everyone was great.
Yeah.
All our friends were great.
Bio
That's all I have to say.
Bio Dude was like really interesting. When I saw him, I thought that like he was like, I didn't think he would be fully like funny. He's a really bright guy and a funny guy. He's an intelligent guy. He's up there. He's top 5 Minifans intelligence. Top 5. Polar's up there. Biodude's up there. Whitney's up there. Some others are up there. But Steve did a great job on.
Tim and Ken's up there. I've done him before. Whitney,
yeah, but I think Tim has a different place than a revolving chair. He's built in to. He's part of the show. He's a permanent part, like Dave. You know, he's too. He does
or like Mike or whatever.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
You know what I really enjoy?
What?
I really enjoy listening to a 3-hour and 10-minute KMS podcast, only to have huge swaths of it repeated back to me during the burn barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Without any context and without any editing. I'll tell you, you just can't buy entertainment like that. To the point.
That was Alice. I believe, Steve. I complained.
I asked you to do it, and you asked for when it was, and you didn't.
Well, we just rolled the show for quite a long time.
My producer did not get any cuts like I requested him to get.
Your producer was taking your kids to karate and saving the world.
Well, I was at work.
Let the record show that now you have the power now. You have the power. Go ahead, play something out of your little Bluetooth.
I've done playing.
I want people to know that you can talk on your Bluetooth. Play something.
No, I already did it.
Steve, that will not happen again. Alice now has the power. She's got her own channel here. Channel 5 is you. You're 5 now. As in 1570 Project.
Where the co-host is going, how long do you want me to go with this? It was terrific. The only thing equivalent to it that, is exhilarating for the listeners when Tom has one of those gigantic sound cuts that he hasn't bothered to edit or really listen to. So then we're treated to him fast forwarding through it.
Oh, yeah.
And the clipped sound that produces. It's I'll tell you, I'm in heaven. Thank you.
I think I sense sarcasm there. I don't think he thinks it really is heaven. That is on the fly.
I asked you, can you listen to the first 8 minutes of KMS? Because I think there's things we should talk about here, and that's what I got. So
I also don't have my glasses, Steve. That is Alice's fault. She apologizes. That is her fault. She's doing weird fan service to KMS last night. And don't worry about that.
I had stuff I wanted to talk about.
10,000 minute fans will call you hot, Alice, once again. And
I
you
had
can
stuff I wanted
save
to
all
talk
of those.
about, but some people don't
and print them
understand.
out like you do. She actually
here.
prints them out. Yes, she does. And she has them in her office walls. All of the adulation.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We appreciate you. We are going to do a live stream tomorrow. You don't have to join Patreon for that. If you want to do live streams all the time, you can do that at patreon.com/burnbarrel. That's also where you can go if you want to listen ad-free and stuff like that. A little extra content
I
each
have a
week.
question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be in trouble? Are you actually mad at me? You're mad at me?
I really, really need to go to the bathroom right now, and I have for the last 10 minutes. So every delay of you stopping that makes me want to fucking stab you.
Jesus.
If you like listening to the show for free, just go to burnbarrelpodcast.com. That's where you can listen. There's links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those type of places.
Don't stab me.